Hey everyone, Katie Bertrand here. Got a new video for you. We are going to be making this super cute drawstring tote bag that has a clear window so you can see what project is in there. This is a tote bag that I made for myself, and see it has a little drawstring, but I use it for my needlepoint. So I don't know if any of you all do needlepoint, but I just wanted to show you this. This is the belt that I'm working on for Christmas. So I got plenty of time to finish. I'm almost done, but you can see it a little closer. So getting closer, but I keep my canvas in here, and then all my yarns, things like that. That's just what I use the tote bag for. And then it's got the little pulls here. I did a little vinyl personalizing on it and put needlepoint. But I've got two fabrics, and then I can just cinch it up. So this is what we're going to be working on today. So I'm going to angle the camera down to my workspace and we'll get started. So what you are going to need, now I am actually making this as a gift for my husband. During pandemic, I actually taught him how to needlepoint. So his birthday is coming up this weekend, and I am making him his own little bag. So I just wanted to go over your supplies. So for his, my husband is an IU graduate, so I am using some Indiana fabric that I have. So I'm not using two fabrics. So if you want to, the bag that I made, I do have a top and a bottom fabric. You know, it's got sewing things. So you can choose and mix it up however you'd like to do. But what we are going to do, and I've got my little notes here so I make sure I tell you the right things, and I will put this also in the details below, but you are going to cut 4 pieces that are 8.5 by 14. So since I'm using the same fabric, I've cut 4 of these. Now if you want to use different fabrics, you'll cut 2 and 2. Okay, now I've also gone ahead and gone to the iron. I've folded it in half and ironed it, and then I just folded the top edge down a 1/2 inch on both edges so that it's, you know, folded and finished. And I've gone ahead and done that on all 4 of my pieces. So these are 8.5 by 14, fold in half, press to get your center point, and then just fold the edges down a 1/2 inch so they have a finished. Next, you are going to need your clear vinyl, and I've got the tissue paper. This, when it comes off the roll, it's got this little paper, but it just helps so you can actually see it. And your clear vinyl piece is going to be 6 inches by 14. Okay, and you're going to cut 2 of those because you have a front and a back. Then you need your top part. Now this could actually be your 3rd fabric, so you can use all the same fabric, 2 fabrics, or 3. So I decided to, just since I was using the same for the top and bottom, I would go ahead and just do this little piece. And this is going to be 4 by 12. So this one is a little bit different because I folded in my edges a 1/2 inch and pressed, and then the top and the bottom I folded in a 1/2 inch and pressed, and then I folded that in half, just so that this little edge would be finished, because that's where we are going to run the draw cord through. So again, that is 4 inches, 4 by 12. And then this, you can use whatever kind of cording or drawstring you want. I actually bought this as a package at Walmart. So just this little cording. If you want to use a colored one, if you want to make a little fabric tie, but you just don't want it to be like super thick where it won't go through there. But I did buy this in a package at Walmart. And then you will need your coordinating thread, your sewing machine, some pins, or if you want to use these clips. Now these are little clips. Some people like to use them. Get a couple of these out. I got this package at Hobby Lobby, but just, you know, sometimes to hold the edges of the vinyl. So we're going to go ahead and start our assembly process. Since I've already got everything pressed and ready to go. So what I'm going to do now, my particular fabric is directional because it says the word Indiana. So I have to be conscious of, you know, if this is the top, you know, outer piece, if you flip it over, the inside is going to be upside down, which is okay. But I just want to make you aware of that if you have a directional fabric, then make sure that it is going the right way. So I'm just going to lay this vinyl. I'm just going to lay it so that the edge matches up with where I have folded it right there. And then we're going to sandwich this in between. And I'm going to go ahead and use some pins. And I'm pinning right through the fabric and the vinyl. Now the hard part is working with the vinyl is making sure it stays straight because it's see-through and you can't always tell if it's shifted laying on your table. So I've got that top piece just pinned right there. Now I need to grab a bottom piece. Again, I need to make sure that the Indianas are readable this way and not upside down. So I want to go in the same direction. So if this is your first time doing this, it may be easier to start with a fabric that is not directional, just an all over pattern or a solid, to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so, and I'm just laying this in here. My vinyl is gonna match up right where I have it folded. I'll sandwich this together. Go ahead and get some pins in here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do at the top is we are going to kind of eyeball this. Let's see. I'm going to sandwich the edge of this in, just like I did to the vinyl. Let me get this camera angled a little bit closer. So I'm just laying this in here. So I'm lining this up where that fold is. Now I'm going to move that back just a tiny bit so I don't completely cover up the word Indiana right here. But you want to make sure you are catching both sides. And we're just going to get this all prepped so that we can sew right across the bottom one and then the top and then our little back piece. And I'm so sorry, but I'm not liking that angle. There we go. That's much better. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I want to make sure that I am lining up the second pieces. Let's set this over here, but I want to kind of work next to it. Okay, so again, I want to make sure that my Indianas are facing the same direction. So we're good there. I'm going to open this bottom part up and lay the vinyl right so it matches up with the raw edge. And then flap that over. Okay, so also I want to make sure that these are lining up. I'll shimmy this down. And then I get this ruler out of the way. Because this piece is clear, this is why it's just a little bit tricky. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't move it down on the vinyl deeper on one side than the other, because then it won't match up here when we put those side seams together. Oh, that looks good. Okay, so now we have this pinned right through here to our vinyl top and bottom. Our directions on our fabric are going the same way. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay these on top of each other. And I want to match up the black band here, because I want that to line up as well. And I'm just laying this on, I'm sandwiching this black piece just like I did the Indiana piece to the vinyl, same way. So I'm folding that over. And if I move this down, you can see I'm getting it lined up. So that's one way to do it. You can always get the measuring tape out and be very precise, but I'm just laying it out. It will work just fine. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and sew these. I'm going to do these 4, and then I'm going to change my thread because I want this to be black. So we'll go ahead and stitch these together. And I'm just sewing just right inside that edge. I'm going to make sure you are catching all 3 pieces. Now, as you can see, that is stitched right there. I would do the top part, but I'm going to change my thread color, so that's the only reason I'm not just doing all 3 at the same time. again, these two pieces are stitched together. I'm going to quickly change to some black thread. Let me change this bobbin. Oops. And then now I'm going to be stitching this right here. And be sure to trim all your little threads. Get that trimmed. Okay, so this piece is done. And now I'll do the other one. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put right sides together. So for me, I can read the Indian on this side and see on this side it's upside down. So I'm going to put the right sides together and line these up. And I can probably trim off some. I'm going to line this up. I'm going to go ahead and just rotary cut this. Edges nice and straight. I really think I need a new blade on my rotary cutter. These scissors. Okay. And I'm going to pin right here to make sure that these are lined up so that these clear sections are lined up. Turn this around. And I'm going to straighten up the other side as well. Might have shifted on me just a little bit as I was getting that sewed together, but I'm not going to worry about it. It's just a little craft bag. And then I'm going to pin this. Okay, so now what we're going to do, I'm going to switch my thread back because I'm done with the black. I'm going back to the white. And we are going to just sew these down the sides. So back my other color on here. All right, back over to the machine. So start sewing, I'm gonna make sure I do a reverse stitch and tack that really good. And then I'm going to turn my corner and we're going to sew across the bottom. Actually, let me get a little closer. All right, I've left my needle down now. I'm going to sew across the bottom. When I get to this corner, I'm going to leave that needle down and turn it, and then sew up the other side. Make sure you do that reverse stitch and tack those edges really well. Okay, now we need to fold out our corners. We're going to sew and unfold this. Get my scraps out of the way. I'll stick my hand in here and poke this out. So I've got it like folded a little triangle, so my side seams are on the fabric are lined up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my ruler and I'm going to measure 1 inch. Actually, I'm going to measure 1.5 inches. I lied, 1.5 inches. Just right there. And I'm going to put a pin right across, and I'm going to stitch right where that pin is this way, because this is what's going to give us a flat bottom. Make sure you do your reverse stitching, tack that, because we're going to trim that off. So we're going to make sure that those stitches are locked in really well. Now I'm doing the other corner. I'm sticking my hand in here and poking this out. I'm making sure that this side seam is lined up. So I've got this point created. It's going to measure from that point 1.5 inches, just right there. And then I will be stitching right across this line. And again, make sure you do that reverse stitch and lock it in really well. Trim those threads. So now what we're going to do is we are going to cut off this corner and get that bulk out of there. So we're just going to trim about 1/4 inch away from where we stitched it on both sides. Do that. And so that creates your flat bottom, and we're going to turn it now. So now what we need to do is thread our cording through here. So you're going to need 2 yards to go through here. So let me go ahead and measure this off. Okay, so here is 1 yard. And once you cut that, it is going to fray a little bit. Don't worry about that. Okay, now we're going to use this handy dandy little tool. You can use the safety pin, but I like this. I'll put it in my hand so you can see it. It looks like tweezers, okay? It kind of is like tweezers. See? It's called a bodkin. Then it has a little ring that slides down and it will hold it shut. So I'm going to clamp it onto this cording, slide that down. Now I can use this to thread through the top part. So we're going to go through both pieces. So I'm going to thread it through one side. So, super easy. I'm going to flip this over, thread it through the back. Okay, so now you should have one piece of cording through both sides, and you've got a loop over here, and then we're going to take off the bodkin, or if you have a safety pin, take that out. And we are going to tie these together. And I've got a little bit of tape right there, keep it from fraying. Let me get this off. Okay, so now I'm going to hold these together and just knot it like this. Just like that. Just pull it tight. Okay, so you got a knot on one end, loop on the other, okay? So now we're going to take our other piece. Now I started this side, so I'm going to start on the front again, but I'm starting the opposite direction because we want to end up with a tie on either side. So I've got a tie over here and we want to end up with a tie over on the opposite side. So I'm still starting on the front, but I'm going the opposite direction. I started this way, so now I'm going that way. As you put the second round in, it might be a little bit bulkier, but you still should have plenty of room, as long as your cording's not super big. Okay. And I'm going through the back side. And y'all, I just screwed that up. Or did I? No, I did. I was wrong. I need to start this way. You know what? I'm still on the back side. That's what the problem is. I should have been on the other side. That's exactly what I did. I can't tell my front from back. So you do want to do the opposite side, but I didn't flip it back over. So now, sorry about that slight mishap. I'm going through the back side and I will end up with my tie on the opposite side. So if you have a little mess up like me, just, you know, pull it out and thread it the opposite way. Okay, now we're good. Here we go. So now we will have ties on both ends. There we go. I'll take this off. I'm gonna knot this. And a tug, nice and tight. You can fray that end if you want to. All right, get my threads off here. Now, if you take it and you pull both knots, ta-da! You've just cinched it up. Isn't that awesome? So then you can carry your bag. But now you can see what little project is in there, or this is great for kids. Put some little toys in there, like Lego pieces, you know, little figurines, that kind of thing. You can use this for all kinds of things. I just happen to use mine for needlepoint. But you know, you can, tote bags are functional, so be creative. And that's how you make the drawstring bag. So if you have any questions, you know, please leave a comment. Now if I can get all my threads off here. All right, so thank you for joining me for another video of our drawstring tote bag. I'm gonna get it all stitched up. Ta-da! So this is the finished project. I am sure my husband's gonna be thrilled. He loves anything Indiana. So this is his new little needlepoint bag because I'm giving him a needlepoint canvas for his birthday. So maybe that'll be another video at another time. We'll see. But anyway, thanks for joining me. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, or if you want to get notified for our next video, hit the little bell icon and give us a thumbs up if you like the video, or leave me a comment. Thanks for joining me.